And I can't remember the date now. It's December 7th or 8th. Today's the 8th, Sunday, December 8th, 1991. And this is Jeff McKean, and I'm over in Freedom talking with Roland Stewart. And we're going to talk about the Frye Mountain area and the farming community there and the purchase of it by the federal government and so forth. So, turn the mic over to Roland here. Well, maybe we could start, Roland, by just, you could tell me where it was that you lived up on the mountain and when that was, I guess.
Yeah. Actually, let's see, we started, well, I lived there all my life, really. I was born right up on the hill there, just a little ways from there. And we lived out just about middle of the way of the outfit. You know, the road there, about the middle length of it, just about the middle of it. And
was that the Carter Ridge Road?
yes,
Yeah.
that was a Carter Road, yeah. And just up above that corner, there's another corner goes the other way, but we lived right down that foot of the hill, and it, my grandfather run a kind of a blacksmith shop, a little more or less for on cars and stuff like that, and they used to work on bicycles a lot and stuff like that. There wasn't many cars in them days. There was, see, we was born down on the foot of the hill, but we lived afterward up above on the next place up. So.
Was it pretty much a farm?
Yes, yeah, the whole thing together was about 200 acres. And it went clean up to the Frye Mountain and then back down the other way quite a ways.
A lot of that was open farmland at that time?
About all of it through that country was all open, you know. And let's see. In fact, all the hills was open, almost always, clean up to the mountain, and generally some of that was all open at that time, but it's all growed up through there now a lot. And I forget what year it was that they started this project, but let's see, what was it? Must have been around 1935 or 6, somewhere along that.
Yeah, that's what I've gathered.
Because we lived up there, and then after the state government took over, we moved down below the road, down where my father is now, where he used to be. And while we was up there, well, we used to have, there was no lights up in that country anyway, and all we had was carbon, what do they call it, carbon, I can't think what the name was, carbide lights.
Right.
And that was some of the first ones we ever had, anywhere near like an electric light would be.
Yeah. Huh.
And in fact, they took lots of pipes and things to put in. They all put in with half-inch pipe, I believe.
Wow.
And
all over that?
The main of it was a 3/4-inch pipe for the where they goes into the tank, and then on the along the walls and things where we had the lights, where there was 3/8 pipe, I think it was.
Huh.
Then you'd have to get up there and turn the handle and make a little thing, and then snap the light, you know, whatever kind of a spark could be, and would light it, and that's the way they got the electricity.
Huh. Huh.
And Once in a while it'd freeze up in the wintertime. And they'd have to get out and dig around the thing and break the ice and then go back to work again.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting in a way, but it used to be kind of, it was fun to watch the rest of them do it, you know, because we were just kids. We didn't have much of any way we could do anything to help, but sometimes I remember going out and taking the broom and busting the ice out around it so to let it go down. She worked under pressure, some kind of air pressure.
There were quite a few farms all spread out over.
Oh yeah, there was probably every quarter mile or so would be a farm. Yeah, there was a lot of people up through there at that time.
So it was quite a little community. I mean, everybody must have known each other and got together quite a bit.
Yeah.
Was there a lot of people work together on their farm projects? I mean, a lot of
almost everybody had their own,
yeah.
And they used to raise a few potatoes or something like that, and vegetables and stuff. But well, I don't know. They want much. You know, didn't raise much for only just for themselves. That's all they want. There's one fellow there, I guess, used to raise a few potatoes, but most of them were just what you use for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There were a few dairy farmers, though, I guess.
Oh yes, each one had 4 or 5 cows, sometimes a dozen or two. And, yeah. Up on the Carter place there, they had quite a farm there. That is, it was quite a lot of. They probably had 20 cows, maybe, not any more than that, I'd say.
But that'd be a big herd for those days.
Yeah. We only had 7, I think, in our outfit, 7 or 8. Just enough to kind of do our own stuff, you know, make butter and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was kind of interesting. Of course, I was just a kid, and then, but I could see I could watch what's going on.
Yeah. Did you go to one of those schoolhouses up there?
Yeah.
Old enough to go to school?
Yeah, we went to school there until we get into high school, and then we went to Freedom after that.
Right.
Yeah, there's a little schoolhouse there.
The Carter Schoolhouse? Did you go to that one?
That was the Carter Schoolhouse,
yeah.
And we had 9 grades in there, I think it was, and 1 teacher. Yeah.
What was that like?
Well,
that was a good system?
It seemed to work pretty good, but they want each one had certain things to do every day, of course, and 1 teacher spread around quite a lot on 1 teacher, but we get along good, and kids all very seldom ever see a fight or anything like that, you know. We get outdoors and play in wintertime, summertime, and even in the winter they'd go out and play, but it was kind of interesting to watch them grow up over the years. Of course, I'm quite old now, but then I wasn't too bad. I guess I was probably, well, we started school when we was, I guess you start in the 1st grade then. I didn't have anything less than that. And then we went up to the 9th grade.
You remember that the government first came in 1935 or 36, something like that?
Yeah.
What do you suppose, how did it come about originally?
Well, I think the way it come about was Carter place up there, and we had, the road up there wasn't very good. And of course the roads get better in other parts of the towns and everything, and that seemed to be the last one that nobody wanted to do anything to, so they kind of got together, I guess, and decided they had a chance to sell out this land, and so they all took it and decided they better sell it and get rid of it, I guess, because they couldn't, nobody did see we want to build a road, you know, to you, and everybody else was getting a road, but we didn't seem to have anything, and that's the reason, main reason why they all decided to sell out if they could.
So the people got together and looked for a way of selling and discovered that the government had a program that would
Yeah,
maybe be...
somebody brought up the idea of this government project, and it was from, I forget who it was, I think the Carter's family was the one that started it more or less, and the rest had to kind of follow along when they get far enough along, so we had to do something, so.
Mm-hmm. Did your father sell?
Eventually,
Your place to the government?
they did, yeah. Eventually they sold it. Land didn't pay much at that time, we didn't get much, probably. Well, we had the whole, 200 acres. The whole thing went over $2,500 or something for the whole thing, so that you didn't get no money out of it, really, the mountain thing. And
was that enough to relocate somewhere? To find another
not
place?
really, but we did find a place after a while down on where my father lived now, and that was, we bought that for $500, I guess. So we did make a little out of it, but not enough to do anything. And nowadays, the one down there, when I got so my father left it and took over me and my son-in-law, my sister-in-law there, I'll get it right after a while, my sister, she and I got it now together, and when we got there, the first taxes on it was $65 for the whole thing. And now I sold, I didn't sell, I give my my father, my sister's boy, not him, but her, we give him the land, that is, on that side, on the house side of the road. And they took that, and we kept the other side on the other side, and we still have it. And she put a trailer over on the other side, and we checking the taxes out on it this year, and the taxes on his side was probably $500 or $600, and on her trailer it's about 100 and something now. And then we have the land besides that, and they charge us about 200 and some dollars, I forget, $203, $4, I guess, for that land, and so they're getting quite a lot out of the land that we used to sell for that money.
Yeah.
Made quite a difference.
Yeah, it is quite a difference.
And they still don't fix the road down there any better than it ought to be. They have improved it a little, but you can get over it most of the time. In the summertime now, where before up on the other place, it was all mud, for 2 or 3 weeks, and you couldn't do nothing. And that's one reason why they sold out, on account of the mud business. If it had a good gravel road like they got up there now, we probably wouldn't have ever sold it.
Quite a highway up there now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good up there now, but you can imagine what it was when there was an old horse and wagon road.
Yeah. And then I guess people were starting to use cars at that time, so...
Yeah.
So they needed a better road.
Yeah, we had well, I guess one of the first ones was, of course, they had Model Ts then, but the biggest one we had, the best one was Model A Ford at that time. And old springs and them wouldn't last too long with that road.
Yeah. So how did people feel about it at the time? I mean, some people, I guess, were glad to be able to sell their place and get enough money to go someplace else, but...
Yeah, I did. So
did everybody feel good about it, or...?
Well, most of them, but some of them didn't like the idea, I guess, too much, but they didn't want to be up there alone either, so they decided to sell it out, I guess. And at that time, though, that was pretty good money, in a way, but nowadays it's a lot, be a drop in the bucket, you might say.
For sure. Some of the places, most of the places, the people at Clayton and other people I've talked to said the places were all kept right up.
Oh, everything was good. Houses were most all painted and everything, and it was pretty good shape, yeah. Would be only one or two maybe run down the whole bunch, and the rest of them was all good shape. Yeah.
But the government didn't see any need to keep any of the buildings when they bought the
No, they just touched them off and burned them, got rid of them. Why, I don't know, but because they could have been a lot of them fixed up, you know, but they didn't want to bother with them, I guess.
How did people feel about that when they destroyed all the buildings?
Oh, they didn't say too much, I guess. After they'd, well, after they'd sold out, you know, why they didn't seem to care much. Of course, some of them didn't like it. There's always somebody that wouldn't like it anyway. Of course, I was more or less a kid, and I didn't. Of course, I thought it was a pretty good thing, you know. But if I knew what to do now, I probably wouldn't have sold either. But, yeah, it was pretty good. I liked it up there. In fact, we go up there now. I have to go up there now, and we have a cemetery there we have to maintain. And I go up there and keep that mowed up and things like that, and see if the town does it. They do most of it nowadays. Back long, we used to do it ourselves, but now the town does it for us most of the time.
Is that the Foster Cemetery?
Yeah, it's the Foster Cemetery.
On the corner there.
Yeah. I still have the deed to it and everything.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah. They turned it over. Pim Carter turned it over to me when he didn't want to help it anymore. And he figured probably I was one of the ones that would be more likely to take care of it. And so we try and keep it up.
And do you have ancestors that are buried there?
Yeah, my father's there, and my father, and also my grandfather buried there, and some of his relations buried there too, I guess. Yeah. Some places that ought to be fixed up in it, but don't know. We don't seem to have get the time to do it the way we should.
Do you remember when they burned the houses down?
Yeah. Yeah, I was just a kid then, but I remember that, yeah.
What was that like?
Oh, they didn't tear them down too much. They just give anybody whatever they wanted out of them, I guess, and then they go along and touch them all. And nowadays they have to take the roof off and things, I guess, but I don't believe they did that too much. I don't remember now, I never see only one of them in a fire when I was there, and that was we were on the other side of that was the last ones that they did burn up. But somewhere I've got a picture of the old farm where we used to live.
Huh.
And I tried to get one made up over, and I let somebody have it, and evidently somebody else thought better than I was, so they never got it back. The one that, well, they printed, you know, the photographer, whoever it was, said they lost it. I don't know whether they ever did or not, but they never did find it.
That's too bad.
But I managed to get hold of another one, and I guess that's about the only one I know of around that's got one of them. But that place was where we was all in good shape. You know. The barn was built in 1914, I think it was.
Huh. So it wasn't very old.
No. And the one up above it, the Foster barn, that wasn't only 2 years older than that, I guess.
Oh.
Them was the two youngest barns and being the whole bunch.
Huh.
The rest of them was all old barns. But all those, I remember my grandfather, my uncle, and I used to go fishing a lot, and so I know been over the country quite a lot of it. We used to hunt up there a lot. And of course, I'm quite used to about all the places up there. In fact, and I don't know of any that I ain't been into.
Were there any people that really objected to selling their places, that fought, you know, resisted it for a long time? Or?
Well, I guess my father was one of the ones that didn't want to sell lots of it, but the rest of the family seemed to want to. But Go ahead,
You
Lowell.
can go, yeah, you can go right over that. While you-
No, I'm not worried about that. I just need my
Oh,
stick
can I
there.
get something? Oh, okay. There
I
you are.
don't walk well.
Okay,
Thank you.
sure. So your father was one that didn't want to sell at first.
Yeah. Yeah.
And did
I
they
don't
have
know.
to-
I don't know about the others. Some of the others, some of the others that didn't want to too. You know, I don't know. But
Did they have to, how'd they convince him to join in?
well, the rest of the family wanted to sell, I guess. So, and so I guess he'd give in after a while.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I was thinking that some of those places, like the place that, what they call the Gene Jackson place,
Yeah.
he must have not wanted to, I mean, that place
No.
never sold to the government.
No, he didn't want to sell. No.
He stayed there after everybody else had
Yeah,
sold out?
yeah. And that still don't, still ain't nobody bought it. You know, either somebody owns it now, but they didn't. The government, state didn't sell it. Government.
Right.
I guess it was the government that started it, and state ended up with it finally.
Yeah.
No, that barn. Gene, they asked him about selling it, and he said no. He said, "There's no other place you could get a 100-foot barn." So he didn't want to sell it.
He had a big barn up there?
Oh, he had 100-foot long. It was.
Wow.
He didn't want to sell it.
Huh.
He didn't sell it either. You couldn't get him to sell it.
Yeah. So they just went around him.
Yeah.
Huh.
See, that was the one. I don't know. I don't know of any others there. Tibbet place there, they finally sold that, I guess, to government too. That's the one up above it, next one up.
Huh.
And her grandfather had one beyond that, and he sold. And that would be on the other road, on the other side there. One that goes down from the cemetery down the other way. Yeah, there was quite a few places up through there that let go.
That must have been a big burden on the town when suddenly all those farms were no longer taxable properties.
Yeah, you'd think so, but it did bother the town. It did hurt the town quite a lot, I think, in a way. But as I said before, they didn't want to fix the road, so that's the reason why, as far as I know, that's the reason they done it.
And then the government, did the government then, after they purchased the land, they hired some of the local people local men to work up there as kind
Yeah, they had
of
a
work project?
work project up there that, what do they call that?
Was that the CCC or?
No, it was what was the name of that?
WPA?
WPA had something like that, yeah. Yeah, there was all local men they hired. They brushed out around a lot of places and around the fields, and they had all kinds of projects going for somebody to work at.
Mm-hmm.
And they set out those pine trees there.
Uh-huh.
And I remember they had the little brook right by my place there, and they had, they set out them, what do they call them? They have little package of things they set out there with the trees was in them. They set them along next to the brook there so to keep the water while they was getting them ready to plant them.
Mm-hmm.
And they set them out there, and they started setting out pine trees all over the place. And they growed in a quite big pine, only it was probably a foot through, a lot of them. And now they've cut them all off.
Yeah.
But there's most of them.
Yeah.
And they was Norway pines what they had. And
Right.
they wouldn't be so good for some things probably, but they used them for, somebody said they used them for, what kind of wood? Woody like plywood stuff that they use them for. I don't know just what it was.
Huh.
They slice them up and put them together, you know, somehow.
Huh.
You know, they cut them all, most of them off now. There ain't but a few left up there.
Huh. They've done a lot of logging up there in the last few years.
Yeah. See, that place where we was, they had all kind of hardwood and stuff up in there next to the mountain, and never been cut off for years. I don't know what they'd cut for firewood. And all that's been stripped off now. I guess about all of it's cut off, most of it. All the pulpwood, I guess, was cut off now.
Clayton suggested to me that the government had said when they bought the land that if there'd been logging done after the government bought the land, that the town would get some of the revenues from the stumpage or what have you.
Maybe they did. I don't know about that. I wound up on the town stuff too much, so I wouldn't know. But Clayton would know more about that because he was one of the selectmen later. So he probably knew more about that than I would.
Yeah. So you two kind of grew up together?
Yeah.
About the same age and so forth?
Yeah. I don't know. He's a little, I think he's a little younger than I am, just a little, but not much. But we grew up right on the same road there.
Yeah.
He was down further than I was, of course, but he was down at the beginning of the thing, and I was up next to the middle of it. See, some of that's Montville and some is in Knox.
Your place was in Montville, though?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And in fact, our place, let's see, was next to the Knox, next to the Montville Knox line.
Oh.
And the rest of it was up in
Clayton got to tell me a little bit about this. This is sort of an entirely different subject, I guess, now, but I was finding it kind of amusing. He was telling me some stories about Herb Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember him?
Yeah, I guess I remember Herb all right. Yeah.
Could you remember?
He's my great uncle.
He was your uncle, is that right?
Great uncle.
Great uncle.
He was my grandfather Kane's uncle.
Your grandfather Kane's
It's
uncle.
no, cousin.
Cousin. Your cousin's uncle.
Yeah.
Huh.
Are you aware that the region up there is called North Montville?
The region of the mountain area?
Yeah.
Oh, no, where Herb lived, you mean?
No.
No, I'm sorry.
Did Herb Jackson live up there?
No, he lived
No,
over
he lived in
Yeah, he lived.
Halldale.
Halldale. Yeah, he lived in the Halldale area. Yeah.
You mean that they called the North Montville the Frye Mountain area?
Yeah.
So,
He was the man that had more turned up for feet.
Follow SR, says 4-1.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
I said, he is the man that had the biggest feet
The biggest feet.
anybody ever saw. My grandfather had very large feet too, bigger than anybody else's, but Herb.
Herb had the biggest feet. Was he a big man? He must have been a big man then.
Did you
Oh, yeah.
did you know that did he point out Carter School? Where the Carter School?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've
Clayton
got a
did.
book where the Carter School started.
Huh.
And it's his relatives and my relatives were all people that helped run it. And it says that they didn't have a toilet for 20 years. That tickled me. I can show it to you if you want to see
Yeah,
it.
I'd like to see that, yeah.
Since you're not probably
Yeah.
interested. But
No, I would like to see that, yeah. Can you remember any of the
Yeah,
stories they used to tell about Herb?
Well, I've listened to some of them probably,
Yeah.
but
My
over the years.
Aunt all my mother and father's relatives were up at there. In the places
Yeah.
where they were brought up.
He used to raise sauerkraut years ago. And of course they also all raised a little side there once in a while, I suppose.
What did they tell you about her?
Well, let's hear what you tell me something about Herb, Roland.
We used to go over and work on the cars a lot, you know, my father did. And he's always talking about the kids, when the kids was around, you know. But he wouldn't let you have any. I tried to get a drink cider, but he wouldn't let me have it. He said, "You're just a kid, you can't have cider." But he'd always have something in the house for you to eat, a drink or something, but it wouldn't be cider. But he was pretty good. I like to listen to them talk together sometimes, you know. They'd talk automobile and stuff like that. But of course, being a kid, I'd always go outdoors if I could get out then. I wouldn't bother to pay much attention to what they were talking about. But I know they used to make sauerkraut quite a lot. They used to have quite a lot of that around and stuff like that. Yeah. I was like to listen to him talk, because his voice, you could hear it for a mile, you know. Yeah, when he said anything, you knew that he could hear what he was talking about.
And he was an auctioneer as well, right?
Yeah, he used to auctioneer, ground auctioneer stuff. Yeah. Used to be fun to listen to that sometime, but I don't remember now what they said, but because I wasn't too old then anyway, and I didn't pay much attention to that stuff, but he was quite interesting to listen to.
I heard one thing about how he bought a whole bunch of hogs one time. And he turned them all loose up on the hill behind his house. Yeah,
all his hogs around there, everywhere. Yeah. He was quite a fellow dicker with stuff. Of course, he was an auctioneer. Well, he could get a lot of stuff. Well, you couldn't buy him otherwise, you know. He'd bid it in, somebody, and then he'd take it home. He had all kinds of stuff around there. Wagons and stuff like that. Yeah, he was quite a fellow.
And then they said he had a still out in the shed.
I guess they used to have some of that, yeah. Actually, that one of them things, I think, used to be down where my father lived, down below there. And somebody told me once that's why it got a fire. Burnt the house up, I guess. And never was built afterwards, you know. Yeah.
I guess that was probably a common practice back in the days of Prohibition.
Yeah, I guess so.
On the farms.
Yeah. There used to be quite a lot of that round, I know. Of course, I didn't get into that much because I didn't know much about it, but there's a lot of that stuff used to go on all around that country too, I guess. Everybody had it. Once in a while they'd have to stay down in jail a while, I guess, every winter. Some of them planned on it, I think.
Planned on spending the winter in jail?
Yeah. But not a bad place to stay during the winter, probably. I imagine the truth was known, probably that somebody knew how to get it if they wanted it down there. I don't know. But you never know.
Yeah.
Times have changed, though.
Yeah. So how do you look back on those early days there up on Frye Mountain?
Well, it's interesting to go up sometimes and look it over, you know, and see where the things used to be and so forth. And of course, it'd be different. It would be somebody who's a stranger, but it's quite a different. It's quite wow. It's quite a different change of the way the land and stuff has changed, you know. And you take where nobody's working on it or anything, and it grows up to bushes, and it don't look nothing like it used to.
Some of it's quite a mess there, where they've been cutting off the lumber and it's growing.
Oh, I know.
saplings.
Almost make a man sick look at it, you know. It seems so you could clean it up so it looked better when you get down, you know. That'd be my opinion. In fact, they just cut off the best of it and left it. They didn't bother with what's left, and you could use that for wood, you know. I know lots of places there where they cut off it, and I could get wood out of it. I guess later, afterwards, I guess a lot of them did go up and they let them cut the wood and clean up top and stuff like that. But that softwood, they don't bother with that, of course, and that's what makes the mess. Otherwise, in the road up there, it looks a lot different though. But of course, the road is better towards when we was up there. But they have to have a road up there now to keep well, they go up there hunting a lot, of course, and stuff like that. But you have to have a road through there on account of fires a lot of times. That would be the main thing, to have the road there, as far as I'm concerned. That and hunting, probably.
It's kind of ironic, though, that the lack of a decent road was what drove everybody out of there.
I know it.
Now that they're all gone,
Yeah.
it's a heck of a road through there.
Yeah, well, the road's good up through there now.
Best dirt road in town, really.
Yeah. They haul a lot of stuff in there. They've got one of the best gravel pits that's up on that outfit now, and that's why they can do that, I suppose. But we used to get gravel there, I know, when I was a kid, but the place where I got the gravel to haul my driveway out with at that time, they never touched that at all, never been touched. But they're digging right around on the other side of it, so they're coming in on putting it where it is, so that's nice stuff in there too.
Clayton also had, we didn't talk about this when the tape recorder was running, but when we were driving around on the mountain, he was telling me about some story he remembered of a murder that had taken place up there, and they'd never solved the question of how it had happened, or do you remember? Do you know?
No, I guess I don't remember about that.
I think I wrote down the name of the person he was talking about, but it sounded like an interesting story. Julie Dodge.
Julie
Does
Dodge.
that ring a bell?
Well, she was the one that they found. Let's see, Julie Dodge. I didn't know that anything like that happened to her, but as far as I know, she, her particularly, she went out walked down the old narrow gauge road, they call it, and evidently she must have fell into the brook or something and drowned. That's the only thing I know about her that I know of.
Uh-huh.
But nothing was said about anything like that.
Oh, huh.
Unless somebody that I didn't know anything about, but I know that's what happened to her.
Uh-huh.
She was quite an old woman.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, at that time.
So what was that narrow gauge road?
Where is it?
No, it was just a road that went through.
Yeah, they called it the narrow gauge road, but it was just a narrow road, you know, one car wide.
Huh.
You couldn't pass anywhere unless you made sure you had to get out because an old Model T, you go out anywhere, but nowadays you couldn't go on over it, and it's, it's this side of the road that goes up through the mountain there. Comes out over there, you know where Brown lives, probably.
Yeah.
Comes right out there and went right out through there to the Conforth place, out through there, and went right down through here to the, let's see, it come out down there by Bailey's Road down on that end. But that.
And were there farms along this road?
No, the Conforth place would be the only farm in there, and Thompson place on that road from in there. And through the narrow gauge, there was nobody on that road. But the Barney Dodge place was up above that, down next to the end where, well, on the Brown end of it there.
Why'd they have a road there then if there were no farms?
I don't know, it seemed to be just got to be probably a wood road started with it, and then they kept going better and better through there. And then, of course, after a while, they didn't do any road work on it, so they just left it.
It grew in.
Yeah.
There are a lot of wet land on the sides of it or something?
Well, the brook runs down through there most of the way back and forth across the brook, you know. But nothing, wasn't that wet. But of course now, there's a beaver dam in there and it's dammed half of it up, so you couldn't get through it at all now. Just on the other end. The other end of that is where my land is, up there now. I can go in from the other road, in from Brown's end, come in there and get onto my land. I on the corner of it. But other than that, I couldn't go in from that way at all.
I was confused when I heard somebody mention the narrow gauge because I was thinking of a train line.
Everybody thought the old narrow gauge road or railroad was there, but that ain't nothing to do with that.
It kind of looks like a railroad bed, huh? Because it's a narrow, flat road.
Well, it was a good, in a way, it had been a good road in the wintertime because wind wouldn't drift it. See, it was kind of a valley, and it wasn't that bad really. I used to go through the car a lot. Yeah. But it's all growed up now on that end, although they're using it for wood road, part of it, and part of it's got a four-wheeler go through there, I guess now. You go around the edge of the pond, but I haven't been in there for 10, 12 years, I guess. But they say it's all growed up in there now.
Do you think part of the reason that everybody was so quick to move out of there was that was during the Depression, that money was tight, and
yeah, probably it would have been.
10 years later, they would have had money to fix up those roads.
Yeah, if they'd have waited, they'd have fixed it up, I think. But they just didn't want to. They didn't want to be the last one, I guess. I could figure out. Yeah, because nowadays it wouldn't take nothing to build a road up there, you know. If they had one good one to start with, why they'd already just widen it out. But that's the reason I'd say why they did decide to go out. And I guess the Carter ones up there was the main one that started that business, because he was the one that I think got it started originally.
That would be George Carter?
Yeah.
No.
End of interview, end of tape C848.
Don't know. I don't know whether I want old enough then to know what just